with whatever or whatever thing can wrestle with you when it comes to streaming things live. This is incredible. So while I've been streaming the more secular side of things, it has not really been challenging. Internet's been good, and now that we're doing this 77 days thing, it's quite the challenge. Hello, Sharnay. Wow. I'm tempted to not move much so that I can keep this spot of signal. I'm a mover. Hey, Mrs. Funk. Tell you, I was eyeballing Mrs. Funk just now, and I thought, many things in life can be challenging, but to have a good wife, certainly, a teaspoon of sugar helps the medicine go down. We'll share it out. Send it to the platform thingies and the messages and the groups and the whatever. Let's get some folks on here, and then let's see if we can get through an entire hour before the principalities of internetness step in, become all unreasonable. There's Christy. Hi, Christy. Oh, Tanya's also chilling there with Mrs. Funk. Funk in law. Mrs. Funk and Sister Funk in law. T-Star. There's Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. There's Meowvis. Hello, Mavis. I'll probably, I think tonight, do a kind of a mashup, because the gift of knowledge is such an important thing, and I would love to, just finish from last night and jump into the faith to move mountains tonight. So let's see how it goes, man. Ned, he says, stay where the signal is strongest. That's a very prophetic statement, hey, Ned? Stay where the signal is strongest. I feel that needs to be a message somewhere. Stay where the signal is strongest. You don't hear from God the same in different areas with different people and different influences. That's a message that is waiting to be preached. Stay where the signal is strongest. Yeah. I certainly. May the force be with you. Amen. So here we are on the prayer path. Not gonna be on all of the prayer path tonight. I think when we have some kind of satellite directly above us, kind of a thing, I'll be able to do a live stream on the entire prayer path. Although I have done walkabouts on the property before effortlessly, So, if I was one to believe in demonic conspiracies, my one eyebrow would certainly be up as to why I've been unable to often do an entire wisdom session this week. It's been crazy. But anyway, okay. Well, we've gone past the 20 viewers mark, and now it'll just climb exponentially. So let me jump in and just briefly I'll just finish last night. So tonight, I don't know what day it is. I think it's day 18. And we're talking about the gifts of the Spirit. And, some of the gift of faith to move mountains. So, all believers should operate by faith because, it's impossible to please God without faith. But there are some people who literally have the gift of faith. And remember, these gifts are given for the good of all. So if you want to know if something is just like normal wisdom or normal knowledge, then it can benefit individuals. It can benefit you as an individual financially. Your relationships can be great as an individual, as a person. But when it's a gift, there's a price to carrying that gift because it's for the good of all. It's for an entire community, an entire nation. Sometimes God just puts you in somebody's life to be a gift to that person for the sake of a nation. And last night I started talking about the gift of knowledge. And first I started off, and luckily I managed to get through the whole story of Esther, where the person that was operating by the gift of knowledge was Mordecai. Because, the gift of knowledge is the exact strategy that you need for now. It's the information that you need for now. So, a gambler or a stock trader would be very, very grateful for someone who operates with the gift of knowledge. But God doesn't operate that way, because he does it for people who benefit entire nations. And God placed a man, Mordecai, with a gift of knowledge in Esther's life, so that all of Israel, not all of Israel, but all of the Jews in Persia at that time could not only be saved, but could be promoted and work better. So remember, we're destroyed for lack of knowledge. So before you look for demons, look for lack of knowledge. And if you see lack of knowledge in your life, then it's good to find teachers, mentors, coaches, that kind of thing. God puts those people in your life. But the most pure, powerful, the most pumped up with efficacy, like the pure, powerful knowledge that can change entire nations, often comes through someone who's got a specific gift of knowledge. It's relevant information for now. And so I told the story of Mordecai being placed in Esther's life, but I don't want to be unfair. So I thought, let me tell the story where there's a woman placed in a man's life so that there's a good balance in the force, And I'll just quickly, before I jump into today's message, which is the faith to move mountains, I'll talk about a young woman called Abigail, whose husband's name was literally Fool. Laban. It just literally means fool, like foolish man, a buffoon. So David was still in his mighty men season. Now, I'll just take you on a little side road there for those of you who wonder what the worst of your seasons are for. That's where you collect your real friends, your battle buddies, people who God wants in your life will be fiercely loyal to you, or you'll be fiercely loyal to them. You rarely will find, the person that you're assigned to serve at loyalty and kind of be a fixer for them when they're in their great seasons. You usually find when men and women of God are at their worst that, you often get assigned to them, if you want to know, if you're one of the mighty, and you actually become kind of a fixer. You're with them at their worst, and you're there to protect their their testimony and be fiercely loyal and deal with their enemies on their behalf. And generally, you feel fiercely protective over those people. Then, God has assigned you to, become one of their mighty. It was some of my most vicious seasons in my life is when I was somebody's mighty man. And you can be a mighty man, you can be a mighty woman, but you'll feel fiercely protective over a specific person or people or couple or whatever it is. And God puts you in their life because they don't protect themselves, they don't care about themselves. And if you don't protect them, take care of them, feed them, look after them, they just won't, So if I didn't have people like that in my life, I'd probably starve to death. I don't know. My wife, fiercely protective of me, my family, both sides of my family, fiercely protective. I just have no self-preservation instinct, just don't care. I'm completely driven by the will of God. So David was surrounded by people like this, and there was mighty men, and they were staying in this region. And they're good dudes, so wherever they stay, they're kind of like, okay, we'll make sure that there's no crime in this place. So they're not like the mafia, they're what the mafia thinks they are, but they're like, okay, we'll stay in this place because they're hiding away from King Saul. Him and must have been just under 1,000 dudes because he had 400 with him in this story. And in that area where David and them are, is this Laban, very wealthy guy, who he's got many flocks of sheep, in no small part due to the fact that they're being protected by some of the scariest people in Israel. David and his battle buddies, his mighty men, these dudes who look out for him so viciously. And it's time to do some sheep shearing, which is this fantastic time of the year for them because, the whole year they work to look after the sheep until they're ready for shearing time, and that's when there's going to be, good money and stuff. So this wealthy business guy says, okay, let's do this. Have a shearing of the sheep, and then we have a feast. So now David and his mighty men who have been now conveniently in the background, not stealing or doing anything like that, just making sure that the whole region is safe because they're there. That's why it's always good to have a bunch of holy hooligans around you. They send David sends a nice message with some of his men to this Laban and says, listen, your servant David, actually says your son David, so obviously there's immense respect shown. Says we've been we're well known to all of your shepherds and everything. We've been in the region keeping you guys safe, and it'd be awesome if you could share a bit of your big feast, even the stuff that's left over with our guys, because we're staying in caves and out in the wild here, so it'd be awesome if you could help us. And this moron laughs at them, says, who the heck is David, son of Jesse, and makes fun of him. Now, he makes fun of David in front of his battle buddies, these fiercely protective, scary, mighty men. The Bible talks about how these guys, one of them can take down 300 men by himself. These are scary, seasoned fighters who just should not be messed with. And this guy makes fun of David in front of these dudes. So these dudes go back to David, and they're like, this guy laughed at you. And David says, well, yeah, that's not going to fly. Because now David's got a problem. He's got all his battle buddies. Everybody's hungry. They've been looking after this dude's sheep and stuff. And it's just custom and good manners to just, at least if you're going to say no without insulting, the next king of Israel. So David says, well, let's go for a walk, him and 400 dudes. And he says, as someone with his personality does, let's just go, we're going to kill everybody. We'll wipe him out, all of his servants, everybody. David wasn't exactly known for having a calm disposition. So off they go for a walk, and they're on their way there. Now, Abigail, the wife of the buffoon, hears one of the servants run and say, listen, there's big trouble here, because they don't even know that David and his men are coming. They just know that the master has just made fun of these scary people, and they have left not looking very happy. And Abigail doesn't skip 2 beats. She's like, go and grab, and she lists hundreds of this and hundreds of that and hundreds of this, and she doesn't even tell her husband. And she says, we better get to David with all of this stuff before David gets here, because she just has a feeling that David is going to come and say hi, and not in a nice way. So off she goes, and David and his dudes are not coming with plates. They're coming with swords and spears and shields and slingshots and whatever other terrible life-ending thing is coming. And Abigail herself, remember, this is now the rich dude's wife, climbs off that donkey, and then throws herself down in front of David. And, this is now, believe it or not, a spirit of knowledge. It's not just humility, it's not just wisdom, it's a gift of knowledge that this woman has. And it's the gift of knowledge because the words that come out of her recognize David as a savior of a nation. And she throws herself down in front of him and recognizes him as the future king of Israel, and says, please don't punish my husband, punish me. Don't be angry at my husband, be angry at me. And remember last night I told you, the spirit of knowledge will always sacrifice itself. It's very humble. It's willing to sacrifice itself. Esther said, if I die, I die. Abigail says, let my husband's sins be upon me, blame me. Don't do this, because you're going to be the future king of Israel. And so what she does there is not just to save her household, but also to save David from doing something really stupid. And David is very impressed with this woman. And, he accepts all the food and gifts and stuff, and he says, you've done something incredible here. You stayed my hand. You stopped me from doing something that could have a lot of consequences in the future. He acknowledges her, and off he goes. And then, she goes back and she wants to talk to her husband, but he's still drunk. So the next morning she tells him, listen, I need to be honest with you. Last night, while you were drunk, you humiliated a man called David, son of Jesse. Dude's got an entire private army. They were on their way here to kill us all. But I managed to stop it. I gave him gifts and stuff. And Laban is so terrified and freaked out that he actually has a heart attack and dies. So then you all know then that David takes Abigail. I think Abigail's probably his third wife. It's not divorce. He just like collected them like ladies collect shoes. but he grabbed Abigail there, and she was his favorite wife. Because she operates by the gift of knowledge. And the difference between the gift of knowledge and a nagging wife is when the gift of knowledge comes to you, it comes packaged in incredible honor and humility. So a lot of women think, yeah, my husband must listen to me, like in the story of Abigail. But the thing is, do you throw yourself down, face down, recognize his destiny? Honor. That's what the gift of knowledge does. Like the spirit of wisdom and every other gift, it is heaven flowing through you. And that's how you know the difference between someone who's wise and is trying to get people to listen to them, someone who's knowledgeable, trying to get people to listen to the knowledge, and someone who operates as a vessel, a funnel for God, is that they will do what is necessary for the sake of the kingdom. The kingdom will always come first. Abigail wasn't, she wasn't just thinking of herself and her husband. She was thinking of her entire household, the entire community. I mean, that's a massive company that's going on there, There's like hundreds and hundreds of people taking care of sheep and servants, and the guy had an entire region under him. So she thought about that, and then she thought about the impact that it would make on David's future destiny, and so was willing to humble herself for the sake of an entire nation, which is why she ended up being his wife. And so the importance of understanding these gifts, which is why I really wanted to tell that story first before I speak about the gift of faith, is the gifts are something given by God for a specific purpose. There's a lot of order, and the gifts are placed in the body strategically. The gifts of the Spirit. It's very strategic. And remember, the gifts are not, they're without repentance. They don't have to be given to born again every Sunday churchians. The gifts of the Spirit come upon those who are exceptionally humble and are willing to humble themselves in the sight of God, recognize people who God is using to bring exceptional change, and often remember, you're always assigned to a person, a place, and a people, or a person, a place, and a people. You're putting those people's lives in whichever strategic manner God has ordained, and your entire life is often just there so that you can bless, that person, place, or people. And, if you want the gifts of God to flow through you, you have to look and see who is this assignment. You usually find them while you're younger, sometimes when you're older, young in the Lord, young in your conversion, because while you're still arrogant and foolish and stuff, it's very hard to lay your life down for other people when you see a destiny on them, because young people are more concerned about their own destiny, and often older folks are still childish, are more concerned about their own destiny than they are about the destiny of a nation or a community. So those gifts are reserved for people who are exceptionally humble, which brings me to the gift of faith. Now it's impossible to please God without faith. We know this. It's a thing that's been quoted to death. And there's a price for everything. There's a price for everything. The price of faith is patience, whether you operate in the gift or not. And I want you to write that down. The price of faith is patience. You have to be willing to believe until, work until, you work until you see the outcome of faith. And the gift. So where wisdom comes with much sorrow, so I know that my calling was to flow with the gift of wisdom, because I make what is complicated easy. But the price is sorrow. So my entire life I've had to deal with deep, deep, deep sorrow, depression, and all sorts of terrible ailments of the mind. That's the price. The price of knowledge is the gift of knowledge, not just, so knowledge is price in general is diligence. But the gift of knowledge is intense humility. It's spectacular humility. The price of the gift of patience, the gift of faith itself, that price is an indomitable will. It is unshakable patience. It's the ability to see what few can see, move towards it regardless of what stands in front of you. The gift of faith comes upon those who just don't care about anything except the assignment that God has given them. And it's easy to spot people with the gift of faith. It's probably the thing that's handed out the most by God, because when you're near or around people with the gift of faith, you feel it rub off on you. You can feel that impartation occur. You feel when that person speaks, that vision becomes yours. And it feels like it makes sense. It feels like, yes, I can believe non-stop in this thing. But when you go away from that person, you feel like your faith dies. You feel like your vision starts to perish. Because people who operate in the gift of faith are just unshakable, unwavering in their focus. Everything in their life can wobble. They themselves can wobble in their inner core. They can feel that their life is falling apart, but they do not waver to the left or the right. So obviously the big father of faith in the Bible is Abraham. And that guy went through everything, and people are like, how can that guy sacrifice, be willing to sacrifice his own son? He would have killed Isaac, his only son that he waited for. He was 100 years old when he became father to Isaac. 100 years old, and he became father to. He waited that. Him and Sarah, they didn't have any kids. They had a little cheat kid called Ishmael, and the world's been paying for that little sin for a century or two, or 3 or 4. But the real promise, Ishmael, which is Israel, which is the delivery mechanism for Jesus, which is the Christian West. It's the foundation of the entire Christian West, which has saved the world from just about every evil, including slavery, that you can imagine. That came through Isaac, and there he's got Isaac on an altar, and he is willing to kill Isaac because he operates with unwavering faith. He has the gift of faith. It is a gift. Now, you can aspire, eagerly desiring to have that level of faith. But you're not going to have that level of faith naturally, because a body only needs 2 hands, only needs 2 feet, it only needs 2 ears. It doesn't need 50 noses. One nose, 2 nostrils is fine. And the reason that the gifts of the Spirit are compared to parts of the body is because we need everything. All Christians need to have faith. All believers need to have faith. All believers need to have knowledge. All of them need to have wisdom. But every now and then, God will put an extremist in your life. Someone who operates by, usually it's 3 or 4 of those in combination. So I think I got mostly faith, wisdom, and probably a bit of exhortation, but I'm not bulletproof like exhorters are. But you'll find that you have a lot of these things that you have the potential to release. And we've only done the first 2 gifts. We've got a whole bunch to do still, a whole bunch of nights. So I encourage you to tune in every night. But Abraham would have killed Isaac. And it's beyond the average person's imagination. It's like you just can't imagine, how can this guy kill his only son? Because Abraham, his faith is in the instruction. He believes in God with such focus and fervor that if God wants him to kill his boy, he believes that God has some important reason. Imagine waiting 100 years for a child. I mean, you won't kill your normal child. These days you probably want to, but you're not going to go through with it. And taking that kid up, making him carry the firewood that you're going to burn his body with. We are not capable as normal folks. I had the faith to move to a piece of land and just pray. I'm more obedient than, I don't know what to call it, but I had the faith to stay here. But I won't have the faith to take the life of a kid. Not my kid, not anybody's kid. If God says, kill a kid, no, I don't even know if I'll be able to kill a sheep. It's unfathomable to me, that level of faith. But I am able to sacrifice a lot of other things without blinking. And I have seen now people who should be in my orbit. They leave my orbit, then I see them just die. They stop serving God. They just become NPCs again, non-player characters. They lose all vision, all hope. And then I realize, okay, my job is to keep them full of faith. And you'll have people like that who, some of you you've been around people like that, and because they were maybe surrounded by idiots who hurt you or let you down, you just couldn't handle being in that ecosystem anymore because there were just too many fools or whatever in that ecosystem, and then you just left that ecosystem, and then you found that your faith view shrunk. You went from being linked to incredible faith and having incredible faith for massive things to suddenly only caring about yourself and your family, or maybe just yourself. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you were only worried about yourself, and then you linked up with someone who operates by the gift of faith, and suddenly your whole life came alive, and the battlefield expanded around you, and your problems, though still important and significant, became of secondary consequence. You were like, I have to solve this problem so that I can solve the bigger one. It wasn't just, it's not just the little problem anymore. And when you're around people of exceptional faith, I've served some people the gift of faith. I tell you, It's like being plugged into a battery, like a living battery. And when you're not with them, then you just start to try and survive and live and, get through the day. Excuse me. But when you're plugged into people who operate by the gift of faith, you're like, man, I have to live. I've got to fight. We have got a big job to do. You go from I to we. Now, I had to study this stuff because I was lost in suicidal depression. I was so depressed. And the first thing I had to find out was, what am I supposed to do? And then, in the time that I was here, I spent huge amounts of time studying the Bible in context, reading as much as I could about the culture of the times, understanding Jewish culture, because Jesus was a Jew. We keep forgetting that churches don't teach that enough. I'm not a Jew, but I'm certainly a recipient of the promise that was made to Abraham, according to Paul the Apostle, which means, Jesus is my rabbi. So a lot of what he said and a lot of what Paul says is relevant in that cultural tradition. And that means I've got to understand the Old Testament just as well as I understand the New Testament. And I have to understand the culture. I did ridiculous deep dives into available archaeological apologetics, which means stuff that proves cultural theory on why things were the way they were. And you find that God, throughout the ages, has strategically built up a system. And that system has got these human mechanisms who, if you have all of them in your life, produce this plan to prosper you, not to harm you. Because you can have all the money in the world and still be broken and miserable because you're missing a particular gift through somebody else. You can have utter poverty, have terrible relationships, have incredible sickness in your body, and then just meet one person who operates through one particular gift and see your life change in 3 years after decades of utter hell. When you have exhorters in your life, people who just, they can't help but build you up. It's just, my friend Pastor Gert is like that. He just exists to exhort, lift your spirits. He just sends gifts all the time. When you say hello to him, you have to wait until he finishes complimenting you and telling you what you are in his life. And the dude is an exhortation machine. When you've got people like that in your life, it's like plugging into a battery, a living human battery. And there is something I'd like you to write down is God's plan is always man. Stop looking for angels and, for signs in the heavens and that kind of thing. If God wants to bless you, he's going to send a human being or multiple human beings. His strategy is always community. And it always comes through human beings. If he wants to rescue you financially, it's going to come through people. If he wants to rescue your relationship, it's going to come through somebody operating in the spirit of wisdom, someone operating in the spirit of knowledge, someone with exhortation. And if you're naughty, it'll be someone who is a prophet, not just operating prophetically. It's going to be fun when we get to that. So now we're told to eagerly desire spiritual gifts. So it's not a bad thing, if you listen to these things and you say, okay, I can handle sorrow. Lord, give me a gift of wisdom, and you really, really want it. It can end up being yours. You just have to be willing to pay the price of sorrow. If you are willing to pay the price of exceptional humility, then the gift of knowledge can come upon you permanently, if you're just willing to pay that particular price. God is very covenant driven. There's always the price that must be paid. You've got to sow something to produce a harvest. You've got to sacrifice something to produce a miracle. He is a God who rewards obedience. He prefers obedience to sacrifice. But if you're willing to sacrifice because you missed the mark, that's what sin means, to miss the mark. And you say, listen, Lord, when I miss the mark, I'm willing to pay the price, which is the sacrifice. That is humility. You'll get the gift of knowledge. If you're willing to stand tall, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what is going wrong. My wife and I, in our 28 years of marriage, I said 27 the other night, and my wifey was lovey. This year's 28. We married for 20. So in our 28 years of marriage, no matter how much we've earned, we have never had enough, because we always take care of more than ourselves. We always take care of the community first. There's never been a moment of enough. Excuse me. And we have just stood tall. My job is to operate by faith, stand strong and focus on what God has told me to accomplish, and trust that God will bring people into my life who will bring resources and knowledge and wisdom and understanding and exhortation and provision. So we are completely dependent on the people in our lives. And the game will release in 25th of September, and there will be a lot of money, but we will still be at the mercy of the people who God sends, because no matter how much we have, we don't build another storehouse. We just take care of more people. We just help more people. So we are totally focused on the kingdom of God. Totally. Everything we do is for the community, for the nation, for the kingdom. And that's the price that you will pay if you want to operate by the gift of faith. You will be at the mercy of other people's generosity. And often, a problem of my own. And even though God might give them resources and bless them with resources specifically to take care of you, you still have to trust that God has always got a plan and a backup plan. But you can't have a backup plan. That's the price that you pay to operate with the gift of faith. You can have normal faith, trust that God's going to take care of you and your family, but I have to trust that in my darkest time of exhaustion, I'll receive a message or a gift or something from an exhorter. I have to trust that when I'm so lost that I just don't know what to do. Yesterday, the internet just conked while I was talking, and I was so grateful for the incredible season of fast internet, very expensive internet, and And I was so grateful for it because I could live stream to multiple platforms every night. But it's like, it's more than $1,000 a month for that internet. And that thing is like gone. And last night I was like, goodness Lord, every investor is waiting for the market to turn. There's so many people we have favor with who are just sitting waiting for the market to turn. And I'm like, I still have to bear fruit in the dry season. I don't know what I'm going to do. It was such a sequence of events last night. Mandy needed me upstairs to deal with a naughty kid. It was like, as the internet gets cut off, and then I have to go up there and display loving, kind, fatherly patience. But inside of me, the world is falling apart, and I'm trying to solve a problem in one of the game things, and it just conks. The internet keeps coming and going, and you need that for AI to be able to communicate. So many things were going wrong, and I was just sitting there like Lord, I know David writes, that he's never seen the righteous forsaken, and I know it's true. But right now, I have to tell you that at 52 years old, I'm feeling like, you don't really care about my emotions. You just care about my obedience, and I understand that. And I'm willing to be obedient, but I'm not feeling okay emotionally right now. Like, there were just so many things going on. And I just sat there, and then I got a message from an exhorter, not Pastor Gert, someone different, who just said, thank you so much. I know you didn't get through the message, but it answered so many things for me, and it was such an encouraging message. And I was like, okay, that makes it worth it. So, it's that moment. And someone could put $1 million in their account and it would have the same spiritual effect, because people who operate by the gifts of the Spirit are all the ingredients that you need. Today I couldn't even work because this stupid sinus thing. Your eyes hurt. There's like tears running out. So I just thought, I'm just gonna go lie down upstairs, and I lay for about half the day. I was just lying there listening to silly anime stories. Just didn't want to have anything to do with ministry or nothing like that. And then when I finally had the strength to get up, there was a whole lot of messages, words of knowledge, wisdom, prophetic words. Hello, people who operate in gifts of the Spirit. So if you understand how powerful the gifts themselves are and the price that people pay to bring those things to you, you will be so grateful for them. Like, I am so grateful for the gifts of exhortation. There's people who just operate in wisdom and they always got money. Because wisdom is the ability to always know what to do next consistently, right? Then they bless you. I'm very grateful for that, like super grateful. Then there's people who got knowledge. They just know what, not advice. It's an actual thing that makes sense to you in the moment. It's easy for you to apply it in that moment. You've got the strength to apply it in that moment. And because they are operating as a conduit from heaven, it arrives in that moment. Man, then you honor those people. You don't want to lose them in your life. There's definitely people who sound wise in their own ears, and they insult you and all that kind of thing because you don't want to take their advice. That's not the gift of knowledge. That's just manipulation and self-importance. But you'll know it comes from heaven because it produces freedom within you. Like that little bit of advice will come exactly when you have the emotional energy to apply it. Then you know, okay, that came from someone operating by the gift of the Spirit. And someone operating in the gift of faith, they will produce within you a higher drive. Like you will feel, okay, I need to do more. Whenever you see them or hear them or think of them, your biggest thought is, I need to do more. And it's not a guilty feeling. It's an exciting feeling. It's a desire. It's something you want to do, because the gifts of the Spirit are for the good of all. They are something given by God that turns the person who is a vessel for that gift into a living gift. And it's easy to accept them and honor them and be grateful for them. Yes, Jeshi, Uncle Funk definitely still chasing Mrs. Funk. And, a very core part of my instruction, from when I made this covenant was to never hide anything. So I share everything. I share everything that I'm going through emotionally. I'm not starving to death. We're not suffering here. We've got a great life. This land is paid off. There's always food on our table. Somehow miraculously the electricity is on. It's the month end, so we're back at the faith fight again. Even though internet is off in this season, it sometimes works here on the data side of things. We are wealthy by any standard. So when I share stuff, it is so that later, when the inevitable breakthroughs come, the testimony is stronger, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, by not caring about our own lives unto death, and by the word of our testimony. And the word of your testimony is when you share what you're going through, not looking for pity, but to show other people that when they go through those things too, they're not alone. And if God can bring breakthrough for me, which he does on the daily, he can do it for you. Don't think, that you have to sell your shoes to help us and stuff. God knows what he's doing. So, there you go. Started 16 minutes or something late and ending a little bit later than usual. God's not going to let you down. But, the shortcut is really eagerly desire spiritual gift, but also look for people who've got those gifts in them, and then honor them and thank God for them, and stay in contact with them.